Man on Fire. The small town of St. Helena was used to strange happenings. An old mining town, it was tucked away from most of the world, surrounded by dense ancient forests that felt like they breathed, casting shadows that seemed to come alive as night fell. But nothing had prepared them for the tale of the Man on Fire. It all began when the mine owner, Edward Lacroix, forced his workers into the mines on a stormy night, despite the ominous weather. A strike of lightning hit the ground near the mine entrance, sparking a freak fire that trapped dozens of miners inside. Lacroix ignored their screams, ignored the pounding fists and desperate voices calling out from within, fearing for his profits more than their lives. By morning, the flames had consumed nearly the entire mine, and nothing but ash remained. Or so they thought. A week later, strange things began to happen. The townsfolk heard footsteps at night, strange, staggering steps that echoed in the quiet alleys. Animals were found dead, their fur singed, their eyes staring into nothing. Stories began to circulate about a figure seen in the early hours, a man whose skin glowed red and cracked, like burning embers, smoldering but not quite alight. The rumors called him the Man on Fire. One by one, people began to disappear. First, it was a miner named Harris. His body was found in his home, charred beyond recognition, hands frozen in a final futile attempt to cover his face. Then it was old Sam, the bartender. His skin was blistered as though burned from the inside out, eyes wide open, fixed on something horrifying just beyond view. But what terrified people most were the scorch marks he left on walls, floors, and mirrors. Each was smeared with a message written in blood and ash. "It's your turn." Lacroix laughed off the stories. He thought himself above the fears of the common folk, convinced he'd never pay the price for what he'd done. But one night, as he returned from a late business trip, he saw a figure waiting in the shadows near his front door, where a faint wisp of smoke rose into the sky. As he moved closer, Lacroix's eyes widened. The figure was unmistakable. There, standing with skin crackling and glowing in patches, was a man he knew, a miner named Clive. Clive, whom he had once cursed for being too slow, too weak to handle the mines. Clive smiled, his face shifting as pieces of his flesh burned away, revealing bone beneath. The air filled with the stench of burning meat, and as he stepped forward, Lacroix stumbled back, only to feel the wall against his back already warm to the touch. "Edward," Clive rasped, voice hollow, crackling like kindling in a fire. "Do you feel the heat?" Lacroix tried to scream, but the sound caught in his throat as Clive reached out, his fingers sinking into Lacroix's skin. The pain was unimaginable, a white-hot blaze that filled his body as flames spread from Clive's hand, crawling across his skin, embedding themselves deeper and deeper. No one saw Lacroix again. By morning, the town was empty, only the echo of footsteps remaining in the dusty streets. And there, in the ashes that had once been Lacroix's mansion, was a single message burned into the walls with the same haunting words. "It's your turn." And St. Helena knew, for the Man on Fire was not yet done.